At the start of the Infinity Gauntlet, Thanos has collected the 6 Infinity Gems. With their combined power, he becomes like a god and sets out to win the affection of Mistress Death. She's the living embodiment of death in the Marvel Universe. When Thanos uses his powers to kill half of the living beings in the universe, Adam Warlock leads Earth's remaining heroes against him. When the Infinity Gauntlet is stolen by Thanos' granddaughter Nebula, he aids the remaining heroes in defeating her. Warlock eventually obtains the Infinity Gauntlet and uses his power to undo the death and destruction that was caused by Thanos. Infinity Gauntlet was probably one of the best stories I've read since I've started reading comics in Marvel. It's one of the few books that had crossovers through all the books in the whole universe, and I read every one of them because every book had meaning. Say there was something with Thor that was on a panel or two in the book itself. The Thor book itself, the whole story would be about what happened on those 2 panels. They did a fantastic job in incorporating the whole universe in, but if you had read the Thanos quest, which led up to the Infinity Gauntlet, Thanos took out a bunch of gods to get the gems. He became a god himself. He wanted to impress Death, that doesn't give a shit about him. So he decides, I'm going to kill half the universe. With a snap of the finger, half the universe is dead. Doesn't impress her though, because her thing is, everyone's going to die anyways. I'm still going to get those souls. So he goes besides himself. He goes berserk. This first issue was pretty much right after he got the gems. He's got Mephisto talking into his ear. Hey, you should do this. You should do that. He's got his own thing. He doesn't need Mephisto to be talking to him. Silver Surfer knows something's going on, and in typical Silver Surfer fashion, because here's a guy that's powerful, Herald of Galactus. He whines constantly. All he's doing is he's whining to everyone who will listen. Oh, the universe is ending. The universe is ending, and rightfully so, but typical Silver Surfer, wah, nobody cares. I mean, this book is pretty much a setup book, issue number 1, of showing some of the main characters that are gonna be in it. Is decent. The artwork is great. I mean, we had Jim Starlin writing it. George Perez, his artwork is fantastic. Doesn't matter, his artwork was 25 years ago. If it's something that's coming out tomorrow, the guy's just got a great classic art style. What I like a lot about this book, it's old school. It's got the old school paper. It wasn't the cheap newspaper print. It was the little higher end of the print paper. But I think the colors, they soak better into the paper than we have with today's paper, where it's all gloss, where sometimes you're looking at it under a light and you have to read it like this because there's reflection. This is the paper that I miss. I mean, I think a lot of artwork looked a lot better on this than it does on the glossy paper. There's no fingerprints when you're touching it. Just some of the coloring and the way it sinks into the paper, so much better than what today's would be. You didn't have to read it if you didn't want to. If you didn't care about the panel that Quasar was in, you didn't read the Quasar book of what was going on. Unlike where Marvel and these guys, for the money grabs of today, you would have this issue. Instead of being 6 issue, it would probably be a 12-issue storyline that would drag out forever. And by the time the end came, you'd be pissed that you were actually reading the book. And then they would have 19 different miniseries that would go on. And by the time you're done, it's a $400 cash grab to be reading this story. Back in the day, they wrote a book with a beginning and end. It was tight. It was good. I don't think they could do this story. They could do this story now and have it be anywhere near as good, because they're all thinking about how can we make this into 2 trade paperbacks and get 6 others from a bunch of miniseries that no one wants to read. This is actually kind of the basis of what the Avengers movie is. It's already starting off different. I think if you're going to see the Avengers movie, this would still be something worth checking out. It's in trade paperback now. You could probably find them at some comic shops. I mean, some of them are going for decent money. But you get the 6 issues of one collection. You can read it all and get the gist of what Thanos, what the Infinity Gauntlet, what it's all about. I don't know. I don't know what else to say. What else should I fucking talk about? I highly recommend this book. It's one of my favorite stories that I've ever read. I'd put it up in the top 10 favorite stories. I mean, everything was good about it. The artwork, the story. I mean, look at this. This is his throne. Look at that. Just sitting out in space, sitting up on his throne. He wanted for him in Death. And Death's just like, yeah, you're a loser. I don't need you. Yep. I mean, it's just good to look at. It's a great story to read. I definitely highly recommend it. The way the coloring is on his blue to everything around him, you can differentiate from different colors. It almost looks like some sinks in, some stays up. There's not a lot of background, but I mean, just it's like the death color and the reds, and they're just bright, and they just they're, see how dark this is and all the blues are here and whatnot, and compared to like the background behind it, it's almost like this sticks out, and she's standing above. It's almost 3D. It's not 3D, but you know what I mean? It almost gives that effect that this is out a little compared to the background. It just, I don't know. I just like the way the artwork is. You can't do this type of artwork on the glossy paper. When he decides that he's going to kill half the universe, people are just snaps his fingers. Spidey's just rambling around. All of a sudden his spider sense going off, and shit's going on down there. Baby just disappears. People in cars just disappear. You go over to here. They're standing side by side. There goes Hawkeye. There goes, I have no idea who that is. But yeah, people just started disappearing. Half the world's gone, and they just disappear. And here's Silver Surfer crying again, whining. Oh, they're all dying. Wah! Look at me. Oh, look, I can feel them. Wah! Oh, let me sit on your couch. I got a migraine. I'm the Silver Surfer. All I ever do is cry. Wah, wah. Oh my God, I hate that guy. I think Thanos is one of the biggest villains out there. Because even without the Infinity Gauntlet, Thanos is just a badass. I mean, there was one book that he did. He was just bored, and he found the one planet that was all warriors. And he just went down onto the planet just to fight them all, just to kill everyone. He wiped out the whole planet. He gets back up to his ship and goes, I'm bored again. Yeah, so I mean, he's got no problem just killing people for the sake of killing and just doing what he feels he wants to do. So yeah, I think that's why, with the new movie, you're gonna do, I believe it's a two-parter, and you're gonna have everybody in the universe fighting him because you need to. I mean, if the Avengers was to fight Thanos, there will be no more Avengers. He's too big. He's too big to be fighting, to fight the Avengers. He's too big. He could fight Thor, and he'd probably destroy Thor. He fights a lot of the godlike creatures, and defeats them at times. So yeah, it's with the Gauntlet and the Avengers, they wouldn't even stand a chance. You need pretty much everybody. Yeah, you don't want him. You don't want him with the Gauntlet. It's not good.